Alright, let's move on to number 5. The other debut over the weekend, Hardcore Henry. It's a, like you said earlier, a first-person shoot 'em up kind of action movie from STX, the studio behind a couple of hits, The Boy
and The Gift.
Yep, both were decent-sized hits. The Boy made 36 million. The Gift, I think, made over 40 million. At very modest budget. But I'm not sure if they're gonna make much money from Hardcore Henry at just a 5 million opening. It had a per screen average of only about 1,700, which is, pretty low for a release as wide as this. I saw it last week. The reviews were mixed, right? On Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, before when it wasn't released, it was around 80, and when the rest of the critics saw it, it dropped to 51%.
Right. It's a super bloody, gory. Definitely for guys, and lots of gratuitous nudity, women running around butt naked for no reason, and blood and gore, and it's all played for fun, but still. I actually thought it was well executed, but I'm not sure if I was entertained. I was engaged, definitely, from beginning to end, but I'm not sure if I was entertained.
Okay. You don't know what to feel.
Yeah, I don't know what to feel. It's definitely interesting and unique, and I'm glad I saw it, but I probably won't watch it more than once. And if people ask me if they should watch it, I would give them a, I don't know.
I think a lot of people felt that way too. The cinema score is a C+. And normally people who pay money to watch these movies are usually, action junkies, right?
Yeah.
And even they didn't like it.
Yeah.
I think this first-person thing, it's not new, right? But this is I think the first movie that did it from beginning to end. It's used in spots in other movies, right?
Right. This one, the whole film was like this. I mean, I didn't mind it at all. I thought I would mind that technique because I hated the the whole found footage shaky cam thing, which just irritates me a lot. But I actually didn't find this as irritating. Maybe because I went in thinking, it's this kind of film, is going to be lots of shaky cam. I'm just going to have to accept it. But for that kind of film, it was pretty well executed. It might be the content. The action scenes are pretty well done. And I think it's kind of like one of those films where it's like the Jason Statham, what's that film where his heart keeps on pumping and he needs to...
Is it Crank?
Yeah, Crank. It's almost like the Crank film. They're in that surreal, hyper, kind of like bloody, gory world. And yeah, it's just kind of in that state from beginning to end. And at the end, sure, you're engaged. But if it was a little bit cleaner, maybe if they toned down the violence a little bit more, maybe if they toned down the gore a little bit more, maybe if the story was a little bit more mainstream, then I feel like it...
I doubt. Okay, here's why I think this storytelling technique is not good for movies. It's because you can't see the main character. You don't know what he's feeling, what his reactions are, and you don't see or feel the other characters from the perspective of the other characters. So it's just like one point of view from beginning to end. And you don't get any slowdown how people, they reflect on the action. It's really just like a video game. Okay, you go shoot this thing up, you blow this thing up, you keep on moving.
Yeah.
There's no feeling involved.
Yeah, you do get the reactions from other people. Yeah, but like you said, you only get their reaction from the point of view of the main character. And you're right though, one thing you are missing is that how that character feels. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe the problem with this technique is that with movies, as a main character, if you want to root for the main character, you gotta feel for them, and in this, you don't get that. So you can't quite root for that character. You don't see how he reacts emotionally to things that are happening to him. You only get to see the physicality of it, and maybe that's the problem. Because you don't connect with that character emotionally, it's hard to get into it, even if it's action-packed and it's very engaging, seeing all these stuff happening around you.
Right, and like you said that you don't know how to feel because you're actually not feeling what the character is feeling, right?
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the direct reaction to a film like this is that, hey, you don't know how to feel at the end.
Yeah, because you're going through his story from his point of view, but you don't know what he's feeling. Is he feeling happy, sad? You know what? You don't feel that.
Yeah, right. And you see other people reacting to him, but you don't see how they react to him when he's not looking at them.
Basically, you don't really care about this character, the main character, and what he's going through because you don't see how he feels.
Yeah, and you also don't see other points of view from the other characters. You only see him when he sees them, so you don't see how they react when they don't see him.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying it's like a video game. You just go from point to point, blow things up, and that's it.
Right. But nonetheless, I thought it was an interesting experiment. Let's put it that way.
It is, but I don't think there will be another story like this.
Yeah. For someone using this technique, I thought it was well executed. Can't say I was bored, and I can't say anyone sitting through there would be bored.
Right. The movie was projected to open somewhere in the 7 to 10 million range, but it fell kind of short.
Yeah, kind of short. And I thought a lot of it might be the marketing because I didn't even know this movie's coming out until we did our podcast.
Well, it is kind of a niche movie because I don't think the older group would want to watch this movie. I think they tried to target it toward the young video game crowd, and I think that's where they spent most of their advertising is, like the Twitch channels.
Yeah, maybe because I'm outside of that age group and outside of that demo, I didn't hear anything about it. Yeah, from reading the demo, they got the demo they wanted, but they didn't get anyone outside of that demo. That might be the problem. And the trouble with advertising to these niche groups is that, especially internet, just purely internet play, like Snick on a Plane, for instance. The problem with doing that kind of advertising is the internet, even though everyone uses it, it's actually a smaller group than, like, say, television advertising. Because when you hear about these advertising groups targeting the internet specifically and not going beyond that, the openings are always disappointing.
And I think another point is, do they even see the advertisements?
Yeah, right. I think some people have drawn the wrong conclusions because of the Blair Witch Project, which started from the internet. The thing with the Blair Witch Project that made it such a huge hit is it went from the internet outside to TV. Local news channels were reporting on it. And then local radio stations were talking about it. So it went from the internet and it spread out to the mainstream, whereas if you purely make an internet play and it doesn't spread out, you only get the internet. From the track record of these films that focuses only on the internet marketing, when you don't get beyond that, the